Quilty friends, it's Carolina Moore, your favorite sewing and quilting YouTuber, and today we're going to put together this June Tailor Quilt-as-you-go mini quilt. Now this little quilt finishes at about 40 inches by 40 inches, which makes it a perfect baby quilt, and it comes together really easily because you quilt it while you are piecing it together. So once you're done piecing the top, all you need to do is bind it and your quilt is done. So you ready? Let's get started. Okay, so I have the quilt kit here and I've already cut it open because I pulled my instruction sheet out already. The instruction sheet is it's a single page, one-sided. That's how easy this project is. And it has everything we need on here to be able to make our project. So it has it has a diagram, it has all the cutting instructions, and I've already cut all my fabric pieces, as well as my background piece, or I guess this is my backing piece. And then it comes with this batting, and then here's our picture that shows what it's going to look like when done and gives you an idea of how it comes together. So the batting piece here is all marked with all the pieces. So it's really this really super simple like place and go system for your quilt blocks. So we're going to start by basting the background fabric onto the back of our batting piece. Now when you are basting things together, there's lots of ways you can do it. You can do things by pin basting or thread basting. I'm a spray baster, so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to spray baste onto my design wall here. I just think that's going to be the quickest, easiest way to do this project. There we go. Just have to pull the pins out and hopefully not step in any of these. I'm going to take the projects that I already have on here off. There we go. Now I'm going to take the batting piece, and this comes in the kit. This is your marked batting, and I'm just going to put it up on my design wall, and that should stick fairly smooth. Now when you spray baste, there's a debate on should you spray your batting and then put the fabric on top, or spray the fabric and then put the batting on top. I've done it both ways. This time we're just going to do the batting first because that's what I have, and it's just easier for me to set up. So I'm going to start by spraying about 10 inches or so. There we go. And then I have my background fabric here. I'm going to place it. Oh, I want to make sure that those selvage edges go all the way to the edge there. And start in the middle. And smooth any wrinkles out. I'm going to go ahead and move my pins into this fabric so I don't have any shifting. And I'm going to lift my fabric up. I'm just going to repeat that process all the way down until I have the backing fabric on here all secured. Okay, we have the backing spray basted to the batting that came in the kit, and now we get to start placing our pieces. So I have all my pieces here, and I'm going to start with this center square. Right there. Okay, so I'm going to lay this out. So I have my batting and I have my piece number 1, and all of these are marked. Piece number 1 right here, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So they're all marked. So this is my piece number 1, and I'm going to place it right here in the middle. And these blue lines are placement lines, not stitching lines. So you want to place this as much as you can right on that blue line. And then I'm going to take piece 2, and piece 2 is going to end up right over here. It's just going to end up right here. I want to put them right sides together. Now my piece 2 is a solid, so either side could be the right side. But we're going to put that right here. And then I'm going to add a couple pins, because this would have a tendency to shift on me when I bring it to the sewing machine. So a couple pins is always a good idea. And then this is going to get stitched with a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'll bring this over to the sewing machine. Now you'll see I've got my Baby Lock Jubilant here, and I have my big project. And even though the Jubilant doesn't have a huge throat space, you can absolutely fit a quilt this size over here really easily. Because each of these seams is going to start and end right on the quilt, and it's part of the quilting as well, I actually want to lock my stitches at the beginning and end of each seam. So here's how we're going to do that. I'm going to take a couple stitches forward, and this is done with just a regular seam allowance and a regular stitch length, nothing fancy. And then I'm going to press this back button and then do a couple stitches back and then go forward. And I do have the guide on my sewing machine right here, and I have to be a little careful because that guide can get stuck in the batting. If that guide bugs you, you can always swap out your 1/4 inch with a guide foot for just a regular 1/4 inch foot, and I may end up doing that because it may get a little stuck in the batting. Ooh. Okay. Yep, it's getting a little stuck in the batting there, so there we go. When I get to the end, I'm just going to do a couple stitches back and a couple stitches forward, then needle up, press your foot up, and I want to pull this out, and I can go ahead and cut this thread, and I'll do the same with the bobbin thread. Give me your bobbin thread. There we go. I've done my first seam here, and I have these threads, and I want to clip these because I don't want them to show up behind my fabric. And I'm using these duck-billed scissors here, which are great for cutting up close to fabric. So here on the back, yep, I've got a thread right here, and I can just cut that off. Go ahead and cut these threads while I'm at it. All right. So piece 1 and piece 2 are sewn on, and piece 2 I'll bring up. And then you can just finger press this. And if you have well starched your fabrics, they should finger press really easily. Okay, so now it's time to add fabric number 3, which is the same way that we added fabric number 2, which is it's going to go right here. We're going to start by doing right sides together, lining up those edges, giving it a couple pins to make sure that nothing shifts while we take it over to the sewing machine. Now I'm going to tuck everything here under the sewing machine. Now if you're finding that your fabric is moving, it could be because gravity is pulling it up. So when I have problems with gravity pulling down on my quilt like this, I pull it up towards myself, and that my body is now pinching that part of the quilt between the table and my body. And so that way I don't have as much problem with it shifting. So now we're going to do the same thing again. Couple stitches forward, couple stitches back, and then sew down the length of it. we get to the end, we're going to do a couple stitches back, a couple stitches forward. And again, I can use my little duck-billed scissors to trim, and I can flip to the back. And now I can flip this seam over and give it a finger press. And now I have fabric 1, fabric 2, fabric 3. So I'm going to keep doing this same thing, going around and around and around. So I've done 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to follow 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I believe there's 12 fabrics on here if I remember right. Maybe there's 13. There are 13. So 13 pieces all the way around, and that's going to give me about a 40 by 40 inch quilt. So I'm going to work on that. And we'll be back when I am working on that last strip. Okay, I've pinned on this last row. I've been working on this for, less than 45 minutes. So that's actually really quick to put a little baby quilt together. This is one of those that you could put together the morning of a baby shower. It still needs binding, and I do have a whole video on how to add your binding by machine. So this would be one that I would just whip a quick machine binding on. And then it's all done. It's all quilted. So if you wanted, you could add extra quilting to this as well. But each one of these seam lines on here already is quilting as well. So this whole quilt is pieced together and quilted all at the same time. That's why it's called Quilt-as-you-go, and this is one of the June Tailor kits. There are lots of June Tailor kits, and I will be playing with more of them as well. Quilt-as-you-go is such a fun method. It is super beginner friendly. It's pretty forgiving. This is made with nice big strips of fabric, so you can make this with whatever colors of fabric you want, and you can adjust this to the colors that you want. I decided to go ahead and do every single strip on this a different color. It has a center and then 3 rounds, so you could choose to do the center one color and then each round a different color so that it looks kind of like a bullseye. There's all different ways that you can adjust this, different colors, different motifs. There's a big square in the middle that you can fussy cut, so you could fussy cut that square for a fun, if you wanted to do this as a baby quilt, it's like a fun baby motif in the middle. All right, let me finger press this last row here. And then actually we'll go ahead and square this up. I recently got the largest, most obnoxious ruler ever, and I've been looking for, an excuse to use it because it's fun. It's giant. Who doesn't need? Actually, nobody needs a ruler that's giant. Nobody does. But it's fun. This ruler is a giant 20 by 20 inch ruler. So it'll just about square up this quilt in 4 corners. Anyway, on my tiny little mat here. There we go. So this could be a baby quilt, this could be a table topper. There we are. Here's all my squaring up. All right. Let's put it up here. Done! So this whole quilt took, with prepping and cutting the fabrics, maybe 90 minutes or 2 hours, with getting the fabrics starched and pressed and then cut to the sizes in the pattern. The batting is all marked, so it's super easy to just flip everything, like do a stitch and flip. And now, yeah, it just needs binding, and then I have it done. And then the back is all completely quilted. I do have some of these little threads, so I need to go in and cut my threads. No big deal, but I'll do that. But it is fully quilted. Pieced and quilted all at the same time. This is the Quilt-as-you-go June Tailor kit. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel. My friends, we have lots more quilting fun, and I've got some more of these June Tailor kits that I've got some plans for. So that's it for today, my friends. I will see you right here real soon. Bye for now.